Even though I was able to, as you mentioned, have these groundbreaking performances and make it to 3 Olympic teams, there were a lot of hardships that I did not have to go through, that I should not have had to go through in the sport of gymnastics with regards to verbal, physical, and psychological abuse.
What's going on, guys? This is Brian Jones from popculture.com, and joining me today is a very special guest. She is one of the all-time great gymnasts, a 4-time Olympic medal winner in 3 different Olympics, a member of the Magnificent Seven of the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Dominique Dawes. Dominique, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. So I wanted to start off with this first because you got something really cool going on next week, streaming on Peacock. It's called Golden: The Journey of USA's Elite Gymnasts. It's a 6-part docu-series that you're executive producing. So I wanted to ask you this first. How'd you get involved in this project?
Well, Spring Hill Productions, which was started by LeBron James and Maverick Carter, approached me about a year ago. And when I knew those two were involved, I mean, LeBron James, best athlete in the world out there, I right away wanted to be a part of the project, as they are not only just focusing on covering the 5 Olympic hopefuls leading up to the Tokyo Olympics, but more importantly, it's not just what goes on in the gym, but it's behind the scenes as well. And I like the fact that they were really willing to be very raw and open and transparent about the sport of gymnastics.
And one of the things that is featured in this docuseries is you're focusing on 5 different girls that are some of the best gymnasts in the country, specifically Laurie Hernandez, who won a gold medal in the previous games in 2016. So what was the process like of choosing these girls to be a part of this docuseries?
Yeah, we went through a nice list of these Olympic hopefuls, and it really is, people already knew that Simone was going to make these Olympic teams as barring no injuries. And so it was like, who are the other athletes that are going to be comprised of this Olympic team and any specialists that we may have? And so we went through a wonderful list. We reached out to a number of them, and these 5 were very eager and excited to be on board. And as you mentioned, Laurie Hernandez, love the girl, met her back in the day. And I love the fact that she's kind of going through this transformative period in her life where she is figuring out her true identity. I went through that period as well. She's coming back for her 2nd Olympic Games. Many people, of course, are supporting her, but many people don't believe, is it real that she's coming back? I went through that coming back for my 3rd Olympic Games. I physically did not think I could do it, but somehow I did. And so just kind of following her journey, having her parents involved, they've been connecting with her greatly, her support system. She's at a new gym even. That transition is very hard for an Olympic training athlete. And so, you know, the fans are going to love that, where she's going to be very upfront and honest with everyone about how she's feeling. And it's great.
Yeah, I think one of the things about this, and just gymnastics or any Olympic sport in general, is just how much they have to train, how much time it takes. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how viewers take that in. So the next thing I want to ask you is, what's the one thing that you want viewers to take away from this docuseries?
I want people to take away from the docuseries the truth of elite gymnastics. I want them to see the level of commitment and sacrifice, as you just mentioned. This isn't we wake up and we start training for a few years and we make an Olympic team. A lot of these young girls started the sport of gymnastics like me when they were 6 years old. And there is a whole commitment throughout their childhood to get a chance at making an Olympic team. And so yes, there is that physical commitment. There is the psychological commitment, the emotional commitment, the sacrifice with regards to having any social life. Everything they breathe is pertaining to gymnastics. And it's a little much. I'm now a mother. I'm a 44-year-old mother of 4 kids. And while that was my journey, I don't want that to be my children's journey. And through this docu-series, while you will fall in love with these 5 athletes and you will want each and every one of them to make the Olympics, and they can't, because there's not that many spots, you will be pulling for them, but it'll also shine the light on the sport of gymnastics and how it needs to change. It needs to be healthier. It needs to be more balanced. It needs to be more compassionate. And I think this docu-series will help that happen.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a little bit about your journey and your career when you were competing. And when you look back at what you were able to do at the Olympics, because what you were able to do was just pretty groundbreaking. Did you realize how much of an impact you were making at that time and for young Olympic athletes, specifically gymnasts, moving forward?
Well, I remember when I was about 11 years old, I started receiving my first pieces of fan mail. Yeah, back in the day, it was like snail mail, where people would sit down, they would write, and they would send me photos, and I would literally take my school photos, sign them, and send them to people. My mom was like, "Why are you giving out your school photos to people you don't know?" And so I recognized the impact that I could make on someone else's life when I was a very young age, and that continued throughout my whole athletic career. And I feel very blessed and honored to have been able to plant some positive seeds in people's lives. I do feel as if while I was able to leave a lasting legacy in the sport of gymnastics, I am very committed to my legacy today, and that is about changing the culture of the sport of gymnastics. Because even though I was able to, as you mentioned, have these groundbreaking performances and make it to 3 Olympic teams, there were a lot of hardships that I did not have to go through, that I should not have had to go through in the sport of gymnastics with regards to verbal, physical, and psychological abuse. I am now a mother of 4 kids, and my kids are not going to go through that, and they're not going to be in that type of unhealthy culture. And so I am very committed to making sure my legacy today is on changing the culture of the sport of gymnastics to ensure that kids that are in the sport today don't go through those level of hardships. Also, sexual abuse has been rampant in the sport. In the most recent news of an Olympic coach who was being charged with this. And so we need to change the sport. We need to shine the light on it. And I truly believe Golden allows us to do that. And I hope the change will happen following these series.
No question about it. And Simone Biles has also talked about changing the culture of the sport and some of the issues that she has dealt with. And one of the topics heading into this year's Olympic Games in Tokyo is Simone Biles, what she accomplished in the 2016 Games and pretty much throughout her career. Some have argued that she's the greatest athlete of all time. Where do you see Simone Biles rank when it comes to all-time great athletes?
Well, I will say this. I love that she's so ballsy. I love that she has a goat on her leotard. I was never that confident. I was never the best of all time, but I love that about her. But really, I will say what I love more about Simone Biles versus, her athletic achievements is her being so vocal, her being so honest, her being so truthful about her experiences and what she does not like about the sport of gymnastics and how it does need to change. At the end of the day, if you are this great athlete and you're standing on the podium and you've broken all these records, but you really didn't speak out and voice your opinion about something that has hurt and damaged thousands and thousands of young girls, then your job really was not complete and done. And she is being vocal. She is speaking truthfully. And that is what I admire more about that young woman than anything, more than her athletic achievements, is her really trying to enforce change in a sport that her and I both love.
Absolutely. And the last question for me before I let you go is, you have a lot going on. You've been very successful throughout your career. What does the future hold for you? Do you see more TV projects in the works? Do you see just doing more work in gymnastics? What does the future hold for you?
I would say the future holds for me a photo shoot in literally a couple minutes with my 4 kids. And that's going to be the hardest job in my work. The hardest job. No, I don't, I mean, not that I don't envision and have these dreams and goals, but I love being a mom. I love being a wife when my husband listens to me, of course. No, but, it's about my motherhood and recognizing that at the end of the day, whatever projects I'm presented with or I go after or gym academies I open, if my home life is not one that's, full of contentment, full of peace, full of joy, then there's something that I'm doing wrong. And so my priority truly is my family and making sure that I'm the best mom that I can ever be. Because at the end of the day, I love my kids more than life itself.
Awesome answer. Well, Dominique, thank you so much again. Congratulations on all your success. We're looking forward to seeing Golden. Again, guys, Golden starts streaming on Peacock June 27th with 3 episodes, and then episodes air weekly after that, leading up to the Tokyo Games. Dominique, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And for more on Dominique and any of your favorite sports stars and celebrities, be sure to check out popculture.com.